Good evening! Today is a brief story about how somebody stole my walking stick. I just want to clarify that this happened a number of years ago, I think 3 or 4 years ago, but it's a fun story time anyway. Fun story time. This was back when I was still at university. I think I was in my 3rd year, so this will have been 2017-ish. I was very active in my student union and I used to go away to the student conferences for minority groups, so LGBT conference, trans conference, and I went to the National Student Conference once and that was a blast. This was at one of the queer conferences, I can't remember which one. It was back when I was using my wheelchair. Now Max, if you're in a wheelchair, why do you have a walking stick? Well, I am and was an ambulatory wheelchair user, meaning that I used my wheelchair most of the time, but I could get out and walk if it became necessary. So I carried this for the times when I needed to get out for whatever reason and I needed the extra support so that I had something to lean on, something to keep my balance with, and something to just help me walk a bit better because my walking wasn't great at this point. So this used to live under my wheelchair cushion. I would fold it and sit on it. As comfortable as that sounds, I couldn't really feel it because I had cushions and blankets to sit on. So we were at this conference and I was wheeling about in my wheelchair. These conferences are generally quite accessible because they kind of have to be. So I hadn't really needed my stick, I hadn't really needed to get out and go. It was just there. And my friend at the time was struggling. It was the last day of conference, they had been on their feet like all of 2-3 days and they were in pain and we were all about to leave and they were anxious about the journey home because they were going to be going on a train and it was going to be multiple hours because they were up in Scotland and I think we were in Sheffield or Manchester, somewhere like that, kind of like Midlandsy area of England. And they were concerned about having to stand the whole way, whether there would be seats, getting to the train station, just moving around. So I offered up my walking stick. Now, I have decided to never ever do this again. But the agreement was that they would borrow my stick and they would post it back to me because it can fold up to this big. This can fit in one of those bubble wrap envelopes, it can fit as a small parcel and it really doesn't weigh very much. I think the postage is about £4, give or take. So I was like, hey, you can borrow this, use it to get home and then just post it back to me. I'll give you my address and if postage costs are an issue I can give you those as well, that's not a problem. So off they went with my walking stick. Thank you very much Max, that's very helpful. And then they kind of ghosted me. So I was left without my only walking stick at the time. So I messaged them to be like, hey, did you get back okay? How was your leg? Is it alright? How did the stick treat you? Are you all good? And they're like, yeah, fine, thanks, got home okay, I'm now at home, journey was fine. And it's like, okay, great, here's my address for when you want to post my stick back. And they said, okay, thank you. And then that was it. And then about 3 months later, I was like, hey, just wondering when you could post the stick back to me because I was starting to need it more. And with my wheelchair setup, while I do have crutches, it's not really easy and practical to carry a crutch around with my wheelchair in case I need to get out of the wheelchair. So I was starting to need my stick more and I was asking, hey, can I have it back now? And they had said something about postage costs being a lot and I was like, hey, I'll PayPal you the £4 or so to post it back. And they still didn't post it back to me. And then I messaged them again about a month later like, hey, I could really use with having my stick back. If you don't mind, please. And they just left me on red. so I had to buy a new stick. So this is the second one of these that I have, because I got them off eBay. They were relatively cheap at the time. They're still quite cheap. I think they're about £5. It wasn't about the money, it was about the fact that I needed my walking stick to get around because I am disabled, and I really valued any time out of my wheelchair, and my stick really helped me to do that. So from the time where I lent it to somebody and the time where I really needed it back and ended up replacing it, I was wanting and needing to get out of my wheelchair more and more because inaccessible spaces, and I needed to like move around my lab a bit better. But because I didn't have my stick, I couldn't have my days out of my wheelchair. So short trips, I wouldn't get in my wheelchair, I would just take my stick. But without my stick, I had nothing to fill in the gaps, so it was wheelchair or stay home. So it not only did they rob me of my stick, they robbed me of time I could have spent out of my wheelchair, some things that I just missed because getting the wheelchair out was too much. It was too much effort to do. It was too hard to do, especially by myself, and I had nothing to really fall back on. So there's that too. I'm still a bit salty about it. Maybe don't be that person. This is a lesson into how not to be that person, and if you are disabled like me, don't lend your stick out to people, or have a spare. So if you've seen in my Meet My Mobility Aids video, you might have seen I have a number of sticks now, and I had a yellow one which I can't remember if it's included in that video. But don't lend out a walking stick if you don't have a spare at home. Don't expect to get it back. I don't even know if they still have it and they still use it, but we are no longer friends on social media. I've not seen them about in the online queer scene in a long time. Bad times, and I regret that because I could have had so much more independence for about 6 months of my life. Also, if you are disabled, maybe make sure you've got a mobility aid on your person if you have ever needed one. So I always have one of my sticks folded up in my bag just in case I'm out on foot with nothing and then my body betrays me and I need one. So I won't have to ask somebody to go without theirs so that I can get about, because it's up to me to provide for my mobility and my disability and my needs when it comes to having a mobility aid. So yeah, that's my story time. That's just something I wanted to share with you this week. Story time is over. Don't forget to like this video, drop a comment down below if you have anything to add to this story and what I could do better next time. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'm sure there'll be more fun disability story times. And ring that notification bell so you get notified every single time I post a new video. Videos go up every Saturday at 6 PM UK time with at least one bonus video every single month. See ya!